Shocker. Joe Biden says not doing business with lobbyists, not taking money from lobbyists, nothing with lobbyists. Yeah. Associated Press reports, Joe Biden, yeah. He's been doing quite a lot of stuff with lobbyists. Apparently, he says he's fighting for the soul of America. Well, apparently he's doing that with his lobbyist friends coming along for the ride. This from the Associated Press. Joe Biden entered the Democratic primary promising from day one to reject campaign cash from lobbyists. Quote, "I work for you, not any industry," he tweeted. Yet hours after his April campaign kickoff, the former vice president went to a fundraiser at the home of a lobbying executive, Comcast vice president to be exact, Comcast, which owns MSNBC. And in the months since, he's done it again and again. It's difficult to quantify how much Biden has raised from the multi-billion-dollar influence industry, but the roughly $200,000 he accepted from employees of major lobbying firms is far more than any of his rivals has received, according to a review of campaign finance data by the Associated Press. Though it is a small fraction of the $21.5 million he reported raising in the second quarter of 2019, the money demonstrates a comfort with an industry that is the object of scorn of Democrat activists and some of Biden's principal rivals. Biden's pledge applies only to federally registered lobbyists, and most of the money tracked by the Associated Press was from others in the influence industry. But thousands of dollars did come from federally registered lobbyists, and the Biden campaign said it is returning such donations. Yeah, because you got caught. That's why you're returning them, because you got caught. That includes roughly $6,000 in contributions his campaign accepted from 6 federally registered lobbyists, including the representatives for Google, which, if you haven't been paying attention, owns the world, aerospace and defense giant Lockheed Martin, and pharmaceutical companies, records show. Talk about reclaiming the soul of America. And an additional $5,750 was donated by the 2 lobbyists who had been registered shortly before, making contributions to Biden's campaign. In at least 2 instances, donations came from lobbyists with criminal records who have served time in federal prison. Former Florida Congressman Lawrence Smith, a federally registered lobbyist representing the city of Pembroke Pines, gave Biden $1,000 after attending a fundraiser in May. Smith left Congress in 1993 after it was revealed he bounced 161 bad checks. He was convicted months later of tax evasion and using campaign cash to settle a gambling debt. Maryland State House lobbyist Jared E. Evans gave Biden $2,600. He was sentenced to 30 months in federal prison in 2000 after being found guilty of participating in an elaborate fake legislation scheme that bilked clients out of more than $400,000 in lobbying fees. Excluded from Biden's pledges are lobbyists who work at the state level and those who lobby or supervise lobbyists but do not meet the legal threshold requiring them to register. Do I really need to read more to you? When Joe Biden says he is, quote, reclaiming the soul of America, I think what he means by that is we're going to move the corruption back behind closed doors and we won't tweet weird, crazy things. Or, just because I want to use this again, he's gaslighting America, folks. That's Joe Biden gaslighting America. Listen, do I think Trump is a unique threat to the United Corporations of America? Yeah, I think Trump needs to be defeated. Do I think Donald Trump is corrupt and taking money hand over fist from the very same people that Joe Biden is? Absolutely. But I'm not that doesn't mean, Biden is less racist. It's arguable. Biden is more, it goes down a little smoother than Trump. He doesn't want to ban religions. Doesn't want to build a wall, even though he was for building fencing when he was a senator. If you elect Joe Biden, make no mistake about it, you are turning back the clock to a time when the president was less outwardly crazy, but just as corrupt. Only the classy, subtle corruption that's acceptable in the club. And when I say club, I mean the United Corporations of America, with its access being New York to Washington, D.C. That's what we mean. That is what we mean. And frankly, when Joe Biden is calling himself middle class Joe, when Joe Biden is calling himself Union Man Joe, all this bullshit demonetized. Excuse me. I mean, follow the money. The middle class, people fighting for the middle class, do not take money from any lobbyists, federal or state. People that support labor unions are not in bed with lobbyists. I mean, here you have one of his campaign advisors today on a call with reporters claiming, Biden is the most diverse coalition, concedes he's not as strong among young voters, which they attribute to them not being familiar with his record. That is rich. Yeah, so Joe Biden's campaign is saying he's not as strong among young voters because they just don't know his record. Well, I got a lot of young viewers. Would it make you support Joe Biden if you knew that he was behind the crime bill, which incarcerated more black men than at any time other than slavery? How about the bankruptcy bill, which went a long way to making sure you and your parents remain in debt? How about welfare reform? How about repealing Glass-Steagall, which is why we had a financial crash in 2008? Patriot Act? Would that do it for you, millennials? Deregulating derivatives, the Iraq War? Yep. We just need to do some social media outreach on Joe Biden's record to get the kiddies in line. It's just laughable. And this goes, by the way, with his campaign, which is still pretending that Joe Biden is just fine. Forgetting President Obama's name. Oh, that's just Joe being Joe. Stuttering through sentences, through words, forgetting whole events. Forgetting the cities that mass shootings just took place. Calling President Obama my boss because you can't remember his name. When you're trying to say the word mechanism, stuttering through it, saying mechanism. I don't say this to mock him. I've been saying it, iceberg right ahead. Joe Biden is not well. And frankly, it is irresponsible of the corporate media to keep pretending these are gaffes. These are not gaffes. This is somebody who's not cognitively well and is declining further and further every single time you hear him speak. Thank you, Botany Lane Pottery, $17 in the super chat. Appreciate it. So now Biden's campaign is basically tamping down expectations for Iowa. That's never a good thing. Joe Biden's campaign on Tuesday said, Iowa is not a must-win state on the former vice president's path to the Democratic nomination, and signaled that his campaign is already ramping up its Super Tuesday efforts. Do I think we have to win Iowa? No, a senior advisor told campaign reporters Tuesday in a background briefing. The advisor said Iowa, which holds the first nominating contest in the nation, will be critical. We think we're going to win. We think it's going to be a dogfight, but we think there are several candidates in this field. There's probably 3 or 4 that are going to go a while. Specifically, Biden's campaign mentioned Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Pete Buttigieg. Biden advisors said they've laid the groundwork in the early voting states, but are now ramping up for Super Tuesday and beyond. And they have no expectation other top-tier candidates will leave the race after first contests. We feel we are going to be in a very dominant spot after the first 4 early states. Still, the campaign downplayed expectations in the first in the nation, Iowa, as well in the first primary, New Hampshire, which borders the home states of Warren and Sanders. Quote, as you all know, historically, there's an incredible home field advantage for a Massachusetts candidate or a New Englander. So, the hits keep on coming, folks. And I got news for you. At this upcoming debate in Houston, where it's going to be 10 people on stage, as I've already reported, Tulsi Gabbard got screwed out of this debate by the DNC. I mean, I think you will probably have some folks coming for Elizabeth Warren. Probably Kamala Harris will go at Elizabeth Warren. She'll probably go at Bernie Sanders as well. But I think you're going to have more people going after Biden because, frankly, I don't mean to be crass. He ain't well. He is not that well. And he's vulnerable. And the only way for other candidates to move up is to take him down a notch. And I believe you're going to see people referencing middle-class Joe, you're taking money from lobbyists. Middle-class Joe, you're doing fundraisers with lobbyists. You're doing fundraisers with union busters like Comcast and law firms that defend companies trying to bash unions. And what to put a bow on this, not only do you have Joe Biden taking all sorts of cash from lobbyists, not only do you have Joe Biden's campaign minimizing if he even has to win Iowa or New Hampshire, which, yes, if he wants to win the nomination, he certainly will. Then you have his advisors openly saying, yeah, this is the Eat Your Broccoli campaign. He doesn't think you need a revolution here, said Anita Dunn, a Democratic media strategist working for Biden, who was a big communications person for the Obama administration. His enterprise is built more on a strategic bet that given the possibility of another 4 years of Trump, Democrats will gravitate to the familiar and reach for this stitched up old teddy bear of a candidate. Yep. That's all I want. That's all I want to, just look at this. We don't need a revolution. We just need a teddy bear. He'll fix. That teddy bear will fix the theft of your money to the top 1%. We just need a warm, old white teddy bear taking money from lobbyists. He'll do it. A teddy bear will be the one to fix this. All I have to say, folks, iceberg right ahead. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.